Welcome to From the Edge, the official podcast of the 200-voice Chorus of Westerly, with your hosts Ryan Saunders and Andrew Howell. This week on our debut podcast, Ryan and Andrew visit with Twelfth Night playwright Harvey Blanchette and the Tafone, Chorus of Westerly alum John Tafone. And now, gather your kids, parents, grandparents, and pets around the internet, and welcome to From the Edge.
Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to the first ever Chorus of Westerly podcast. We are stretching our legs and going on the World Wide Web, something that was started all of 2 days ago. And now we found it with a podcast. My name is Ryan Saunders. I'm sitting here today hosting this podcast along with my partner in crime, the man who wears the conducting pants, sometimes a conducting shirt and jacket, Andrew Howell. Say hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
All right, great. This is good. And also here in the room with us right now, along with a cast of characters of thousands, is Harvey Blanchette, who's nearby, and
hello.
He's right here. And then a little later on, you get to hear from John Tafone. Anyway, you're probably wondering, why are we talking more than normal? Well, first of all, I like to talk, and if you've been to any of our concerts, I give about 35-minute curtain speeches, so I thought I'd start for 12 nights right now. We're hoping to reach out to some of our fans, alumni, or maybe even the people who don't like us, and talk to you a little bit about what we're doing from week to week, time to time. That's okay, guys. You can laugh if I have a terrible, awful joke.
That's why we didn't laugh, Ryan.
There you go. But we'll talk about the events that are coming up. We'll try to bring in some interesting people that we're working with or who are working with on our events. We'll bring in Andrew's doctor to take care of his cough, because we're recording this in the midst of the preparations for our 40th and final celebration of Twelfth Night, but it's a 12th Night tradition that the directors of the chorus, be they Andrew or myself or even George before he retired, that we get some sort of terrible
illness,
upper respiratory infection. Yeah, that's right.
Consumption be done about it?
Oh, wow.
That's my contribution. So.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harvey Blanchette, he'll be playing the Knickerbocker this weekend. But no, and also let you hear some music from time to time as we get permission to do so, and bring in some of our alumni members. And later on in this particular show, we're going to talk to the Tafone, as I call him, Mr. John Tafone, who is one of our more distinguished alumni, who is currently a junior. Is that right, John? John's like the guy behind the glass if you're on a radio station right now that they talk to but you never see. Of course, it's podcast, so you can't really see it.
People you don't see on radio.
But John is a junior at Catholic University in the District of Columbia, and he will be headed off to Oxford. So we're going to learn a little bit about what John's up to, and that will be in our last segment. So this first segment here, I guess Andrew and I are going to have some sort of witty banter, and hopefully our fine producers behind the glass over here edit out our early banter. So how you doing, Andrew? Happy New Year!
Happy New Year to you too.
You excited? This is our big 40th and final 12th night. You pumped?
I am very excited. This is actually my 20th 12th night. I did that math, and this will be my 20th year. I spent 17 of those years as a treble, and then finally my voice changed, and I became music director of the Chorus of Westerly.
That's incredible.
This will be my third one now.
Wow. Well, congratulations on your voice changing.
Thank you very much.
That's very exciting.
I think it's actually changing back right now. So.
Well,
What
what is your first 12th night memory?
Actually, one of the earliest memories I have, and I don't know if it was the same year, but there was the Angel year, which I believe also had the big crystals. Was that the same year? I remember. All right. So let me just give you a little more than
let's
that.
just say there were big crystals.
So there was a giant, gorgeous angel that our wonderful Bill Crosdale built that came into the hall at the same time as the chorus was singing O Magnum Mysterium, the Lauridsen.
Morton Lauridsen,
yes.
Yeah.
And it was just a glorious moment, but it was pretty early on, I believe, from when I was singing. And I don't know why I remember, but I also remember all these people with gloves and these weird glowing crystals.
No, I was one of those. They were like bedazzled gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, the hands.
It was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, they did. They did do that.
You reached into it and we said our lines.
So
Scaffin was the monster that year.
Scat.
So you got a better memory
that's
for it
why
than
Harvey
me.
writes the play.
Yeah, exactly. After 20 years, it's hard to keep track of what has been what. But so that was my first real memory, and I sang for a number of years, as part of the chorus, and then I ended up transferring over to the behind-the-scenes stuff. So I got to open doors for people, keep everyone in line downstairs, and put a headset on and fun things like that. I did video for a few years, so I've done many different things for this production.
The AV
so
nerd.
now it's nice
like
to
it.
be in the director's seat
Use
and
your kind words.
get to wave my arms at people.
Look, I called him an AV nerd, but I'm the executive director of a community chorus. If there's anything more nerdy, I don't know what there is out
that's
there.
The
wonderful.
fact that you show up dressed as Captain Picard.
Well, thank you. I do. I'm shaving my head daily to make sure that happens. Actually, the reason I was poking Andrew on that story about his favorite Twelfth Night memory is because 2 years ago we were at the Chorus America conference in Seattle, and who did we happen to sit next to at lunch?
Oh, that's right. We happened to run into Morten Lauridsen, and we were just about to get ready to do his Lux Aeterna. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. A couple months later. Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
But you told him, Andrew told him that story he just told you about.
I did.
And
it is really interesting and difficult to try and describe to someone what it is that we do in this very strange show called Twelfth Night, and how it all goes together, and the people that are involved in it, and what the creatures are, and how the story moves along, and it is very difficult to actually make that an understandable thing. So I think by the end of the conversation, he basically just kind of walked away saying that guy is a total weirdo. So
I think he ran to the elevator. He ate a salad.
He did, but I think he
like
was
a
avoiding
California
everyone, not
Cobb
just me.
salad or something that he ate, and he did. And apparently his nickname is Bud. I think is that right? Or am I making that up? No, Skip. It's Skip Lauridsen. Thank you. John
I think
Tafone from
Ryan
Behind the
is
Glass.
making
It
that
was
Story's
Bud.
getting better by the second.
Well, this is sort of how we plan things around here. We just talk about Chorus America war stories. But no, that's one of the great things about Twelfth Night is we've gotten a chance to do some fabulous music. And in the next segment, we'll talk to Harvey a little bit about the plot, and we'll hear a little bit of the music and the guest actors and vocalists coming in.
Yeah, on the musical side, actually, that is one of the most interesting things about the show, is that because it's a new production every year, we're always looking for moods and certain songs to fit various scenes, and so there's such a wide variety of music that we end up getting to delve into in the show. Things that we wouldn't necessarily use in the rest of the year, but we have the opportunity to explore new repertoire
Right,
and
because
do
it's
more
too short,
interesting
they're not-
things.
You can't do a whole piece, a whole concert on this one little bit, but it's
Right.
this great thing to create a mood and set a scene properly.
Well,
Yeah.
interesting, though, the very first Twelfth Night, we got about a minute left before we go to our next segment here, but our very first Twelfth Night, which we don't count, the chorus called it a celebration of Twelfth Night, but did part 4 of the Christmas
Oratorio by
Yeah.
Bach, that's
Yeah.
right.
So I
and
guess
they had
we-
an orchestra.
They had an so I guess we actually did the first show of Twelfth Night back in November this year. So it's an extended Twelfth Night, but it's very exciting. We are thrilled to be doing this in our this is the 40th go round of this particular iteration of Twelfth Night. It's our final one for now, which is certainly an emotional thing for all of us here. But we're really pumped up and excited about it. And we're looking forward to what's going to happen very soon and what's going to happen in the future. So we're gonna take a quick break here and do something else, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk to Harvey about Twelfth Night and about this year's
I better find out
actual
what's going on.
plot. You better write it quickly.
I'm quick.
Okay.
Hurry.
Join the Chorus of Westerly for their final performance of A Celebration of Twelfth Night, one of New England's finest traditions. The 2015 show will bring down the curtain on the production after a wonderful 40-year run. This spectacular farewell will feature a rich tapestry of music, dance, comedy, swordplay, and mythical beasts. The colourful, joyful pageant features the Chorus of Westerly and the Twelfth Night Festival Brass, along with a cast of 130 actors, acrobats, dancers, and jesters, and is conducted by music director Andrew Howell. Performances are Saturday, January the 10th and Sunday, January the 11th at 2 and 6 p.m. at the George Kemp Performance Hall in downtown Westerly. There is also a Peasants Feast featuring a warm winter meal and traditional entertainment at 4 p.m. on both days. A discounted preview performance takes place on Friday, January the 9th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available by calling 401-596-8663 or online at chorusofwesterly.org. This production is sponsored by L&M Westerly Hospital, the Bloomington Thrift Shop, and the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts.
All right, we're back, and we've made some noise in the office in between. We went out,
Let off some steam.
We went out for
It's
a
great.
smoke, had a couple drinks,
Yep.
came on back. It's okay. It's look,
Wow.
Andrew's making faces across the way here, but
That's
first of
just
all,
his
we're on the
face,
internet,
right?
so you can say anything you want. Secondly,
Why is
none
that
of
a
us.
rule?
I don't know, that's cool.
When did that become? Oh, it's the internet. Oh, phew.
Well, we're also adults, and secondly, none of us actually smoke or do anything. No, we've moved nowhere in the office. Harvey got a little closer to me, which is
I did.
which is lovely. But
I'm
here
chilly.
he is. Anyway, so we have a celebration of 12th Night number 40 going to happen right now. Right now.
And, show starts. 3,
apropos
2.
of nothing. We're going to have Harvey tell us a little bit about. So every year, Harvey, 12th Night has a plot,
A brand new plot.
a good versus evil, light versus dark, and this is the last one. So you've got to hit a home run this year. So what did you write for us? Yeah.
Well, no, this is a great year too because when the decision came kind of down the pike. I'd had a totally different script, right? Like really to draft and ready to start going, but it was weird. It was a really weird show, and it was very experimental, and it had all this very strange music and this dance. It was kind of vague and very would have been a very not 12th Night-y 12th Night, and I'm like, well, that's a lousy choice for last year. And luckily, I had written another script that we couldn't really get going a couple of years ago because it was too big. It had a quartet and it had all these 4 puppets, and it's just sort of this monster. But given this last year, we just sort of were like, well, let's go for that one. And as I kind of revisited that storyline, it really ended up being about where sort of the main core of the plot is about a family coming together and learning how to let go of their angers and their prides and their hurts and complete their family again. It's also about letting go of things and learning that everything has its own time. And so it just ended up thematically being really, really lovely for this year. And I think it's going to really help a lot of people who are very close to the show really sort of, be a good final year, but also just a wonderful year for anyone who it's their first time seeing it, because it's really got a lot of really great, big, impressive, beautiful stuff in it.
Now 12th Night is always really about things changing, rebirth. I mean, many things. And so when you're talking about the different elements of this, is really it centers around the 4 seasons of the year.
Yes, this specific year especially. And it's always being a sort of an ancient solstice celebration. So it is this conflict of the dark time of the year versus the light time of the year. But this year it's much more direct. The villain itself is villain per se, but the villain is Winter. Who has been pushed out of the wheel of the seasons and is intent on coming back and basically making a world of endless winter so he can never be pushed out again. But then, even more, what makes it so lovely is it's not about defeating Winter, it's about welcoming Winter back in. It's about being yes, things are kind of tough right now, but please come back and we'll be whole again.
Right.
So that's,
right.
I hate monsters. Because I don't, it's like, well, why is he mad? Why? I don't want to kill the monster. Because, why is he killing people? Can we just deal with this and not just murder that poor dragon thing?
It's well, it's a very. I mean, Harvey, how many of these? I mean, you helped Anne with one.
Keep
how many of these have you written?
I don't know.
Well, Anne wrote about 300, so you must have done 25.
The one I worked with Anne was that, and I think I've done 8 by myself since that.
Yeah.
I think so. This is my 9th script that I've worked on. Because there's the 5-year, there's the Golem, there's the Black Boar, there's the Dragon Year, and then there's this year. So that's 9.
So it's 9.
So it's 9 solo scripts.
And just so folks are aware who might be listening to us for the first time, is that for the bulk of the show's history, it was written by one of the charter members of the chorus, Ann Utter, who was the original producer and writer of the show. And when Anne was getting sick before she passed away in 2006, I think is when Anne passed away.
That sounds right.
Harvey was there to help finish that script, and then after she did leave us, sadly, Harvey picked up the writing baton and went forward.
And it was wonderful that first year. I actually got to have a couple of script meetings with her in the script that I had taken from conception. So I did get a chance to sort of make sure that I actually was writing 12th Night as it had, in the same vein as it had been intended. I've never really tried to duplicate her style because that would not, I don't think that would be a really good idea to even attempt. But I certainly got to work with her and created something.
Having read this one and watched it come together, this is actually one of my favorites of the scripts that you've written. So I hope people find it as enjoyable as I have, at least reading it. And it's funny because when you read things and then see them on the stage, they're always very different. And I'm always actually much more impressed when they're on the stage for very obvious reasons. But we have some fantastic lead actors and vocalists coming in.
The cast is so exciting. Emily Marvash, who's just fantastic, is playing the Queen of Summer, Lady Air, and she's sort of the other antagonist, sort of this source of pride, and she's the one ruling the kingdom and has gotten in a fight with a character named Lord Blythe, who's played by
Matt
Worth, who is a baritone and a really, really handsome man, but a very talented singer too. So the management are very excited about that. And then we have these other two. We have Abra Clausen, who's playing our summer queen, and she is
she's one of our teen singers in the chorus.
And really a remarkable acting product coming out of her. Just really stunning work. And then
she's got quite a bit of background with Trinity Rep.
But just really doing some lovely stuff. And then we have for the Autumn King is Andrew Burnap, who was in the chorus and in Twelfth Night for years, and is now he's going to be a name to watch, and is also just bringing a really amazing just piece of acting and some singing, and it's very exciting to have such a really compelling chunk there at the core of the plot.
And of course, around them we have coming back to work with us again, Father Christmas, Jim Lawson coming back.
Yes.
And Jim's been doing this for, I think, nearly 15 years now in some capacity.
362 years.
That's right. So, and Jim is, I think that role was actually made for Jim. And we have Mike Micklin and his son Shane coming back to be our jesters.
Oh, yeah.
And we have some tremendous other folks working behind the scenes. Darren Wood, our director, Robin, our choreographer, and then all the folks doing lights, costume, sound, tech. If I try to thank everybody right now, we wouldn't get through it. But
Calvin Utter's on stilts doing a really beautiful piece of work. We've got a 2-man giant wolf puppet, which is really awesomely terrifying.
The puppets are pretty cool. I must say that they're pretty cool about
visually.
This.
It's going to be a really impressive show.
I'm
making hand gestures. You can't tell, but they're great hand gestures.
And both of you have a fun thing happening this year. Your children are going to be in the. Andrew and Harvey don't have children together. They're various children.
No, let's be honest with our love.
Your children are going to be in the show this year. That's my daughter.
Jocelyn's a crown kid.
And that's a pretty exciting thing.
Your whole brood is.
I've got 2 crown kids and a wreath kid.
Wow, I was a wreath kid my very first year. That was one of my exciting things. All right, well, 12th Night's coming up, and in our next segment, we're going to talk to the Tafone and learn a little bit about what a chorus alum is doing, what he's doing in the office right now.
Join the Chorus of Westerly for their final performance of A Celebration of Twelfth Night, one of New England's finest traditions. The 2015 show will bring down the curtain on the production after a wonderful 40-year run. This spectacular farewell will feature a rich tapestry of music, dance, comedy, swordplay, and mythical beasts. The colourful, joyful pageant features the Chorus of Westerly and the Twelfth Night Festival Brass, along with a cast of 130 actors, acrobats, dancers, and jesters, and is conducted by music director Andrew Howell. Performances are Saturday, January the 10th and Sunday, January the 11th at 2 and 6 p.m. at the George Kemp Performance Hall in downtown Westerly. There is also a peasant's feast featuring a warm winter meal and traditional entertainment at 4 p.m. on both days. A discounted preview performance takes place on Friday, January the 9th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available by calling 401-596-8663 or online at chorusofwesterly.org. This production is sponsored by L&M Westerly Hospital, the Bloomington Thrift Shop, and the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts.
All right, well, we're back, and that was a lively 12th Night discussion we had before. So this being our first podcast, and us having no clue how to actually conduct a podcast, we looked around the office literally and said, who can we interview? And sitting down at the other end of the music library where we're working right now is the man I like to call the Tafone.
So I guess it was my fault.
That's right, because that's your last name. John Tafone. Welcome, John. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, my pleasure. I was here anyway.
That's right. Now, why are you here?
It's a really good question. They won't let me out.
Please help.
No, I'm doing some arranging, orchestration for the show. Done it for a little while now. And that's what I'm doing now.
What are you actually arranging down there in the little computer?
Currently a piece by John Rutter.
Which piece is that?
Blow, blow, thou winter wind.
Blow, blow, thou winter wind.
Yeah, so to give a little background on John, John is currently a composition major at Catholic University, which Ryan mentioned in the first section. He's about to spend a semester abroad in Oxford studying composition. And something else.
Choral conducting, choral music.
Choral music over in Oxford. Yeah. So we've been lucky for the last 3 years, or this is the third year, for John to come in and as we are fitting all sorts of things into the show, trying to find music for specific moods, whatever we come across, we then have to what we call brastrate it. And that means that we're writing for a pit band of 7 brass instruments, typically harp and percussion, but this year we're having organ and percussion. So John will come in and sit down and take a full orchestral score and make it sound like something substantial for a
that
brass
sounds cool.
ensemble. I know, it's really
Wow.
great.
It's
It's a lot of
pretty
pressure,
amazing.
and it's due in an hour.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about this. What's going to happen in Oxford? So you're going to Oxford.
Yes,
I know of a lot of very good pubs over there, which someday you should try.
Mr. Kent was actually telling me about them too.
I bet.
After Christmas Pops, he's like, I've got a list of pubs for you to go to. I was like, Mr. Kent.
Well, music, pubs comes together. So, but beyond the finding the beer, who are you going to be studying with, and what college are you going to be at?
I'm going to be at New College, which is ironically one of the older colleges at Oxford. We have to wear robes to class and to meals.
Just robes?
Just robes, yeah.
Wow.
No, they didn't say anything else. The website
Breezy.
says robes.
Robes, no shoes. no
Essentially, he's going to be in Harry Potter for
Yeah,
a
pants.
semester.
basically.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. And I'm studying choral music. They asked me to write a concept musical while I'm over there.
A concept musical.
Concept musical. Yeah.
Interesting. And do you have any idea what you're going to write? Like, what is the concept?
What is the concept
Yeah.
for the concept musical? Well, I have a collaborator, and we were tossing around ideas, and one of the ideas came up of home.
Wow.
It'll be a show with no plot about home.
Well, there you go. A show with no plot about home coming
All right.
to theaters near you this summer. That's very exciting. Now you're leaving shortly next week. Actually, you're
January
heading-
5th.
January 5th, and if you're listening to this on January 6th, John is already in England and at the Eagle and Childs.
Yes.
How long are you going to be there? When do you come back to the U.S.?
So my last day of class is in March. I'll be staying in Europe for another week, and then I'll be back in the States for a week, and then I go to Manhattan, and then I'll go back to D.C. and maybe stop back here.
Wow, you are all over the place.
Yeah.
So the semester only goes through March,
Yes.
and then now do you go to class, or is it just you're just meeting?
They're tutorials, so
I
they're
see.
one-on-one.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. How did you get into this particular program?
Well, there's no set-up program at our school for music majors to study abroad at Oxford. It was just something I wanted to do, so I made up my own program.
So they actually in Oxford know you're coming, right? Like, it's
Yes,
not
yeah,
just gonna
they know I'm coming. I
show
wasn't just
up
going to
and-
show up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So now you've been involved with 12th Night for a long time here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so do you have a particular favorite 12th Night memory, or something that you just like about the show, or maybe you don't like us at all? I don't know.
Wow. That's a
I mean,
lot.
it's a podcast. And,
Be honest.
yeah, there you go. It's the
I have-
executive director.
2 favorite 12th Night memories, actually. The first one was my first 12th Night. I was singing and scared out of my mind. I was in the treble section, because that's...
Andrew was still
8 years
there
old.
back then.
Andrew
yeah.
was still in the treble section. Yeah. And there was the year with the Griffin. I remember seeing the Griffin. I was like, this is so cool. I can't believe we get to do this. And I was like, I'm going to write a show at some point in my life.
A concept musical,
A
perhaps.
concept musical. No, actually, I wrote a show with my collaborator this past semester at school.
Mm-hmm.
It was performed in D.C., and now the show's going on and doing some relatively big things.
What is the name of the show?
The show is entitled First Light,
Uh-huh.
and it's based off of the Edward Hopper painting Nighthawks.
Wow, very, very, very interesting. And now you recently were out in Los Angeles for an award or something like that? What
Yes,
happened
I
to
was at a film festival out in California. I was nominated for Best Soundtrack
Wow.
in said film festival.
that? Did you win?
I didn't win, but I got offered a
Bummer.
job. So.
Well, did you take the job?
I can't because of stuff that non-disclosure agreements.
Wow.
But
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the guy who's scoring the new Star Wars is right here. Put it on Twitter right now. It's breaking. Hashtag awesome. Hey, that's pretty cool. I'll let John. I once covered on conducting conversations with Mike Mano for Keith Lockhart, and
Really?
so I
and the Boston Pops.
yeah, that's right. And John Williams led the Boston Pop, so I have no connection to him at all. But I'll try to send an email up that way to let him know that you're writing.
He
Star
doesn't
Wars.
have a computer.
Well, that's true. Most people do have computers these days. But, well, best of luck to you. And thank you.
But John Williams doesn't have a computer. That's the point there. doesn't know computer.
The interesting thing about working in a musical organization is I have no ability to hear at all.
It's fine.
Anyway, well, best of luck to you and your trip abroad, and thank you for your help. John won't be here when the show opens, so you won't get a chance if you see him to hug him and thank him, but he'll be back again after his trips to March. Well, Harvey's
thanks for the
hugging
hug.
him, and thanks to the magic of radio or podcasting. You can't see it, but all best to you, and thank you for your hard work. We're coming to the end of our first podcast, but we hope to make these a little bit more professional, or maybe less professional, and hopefully our fine producers behind the glass didn't put in some of the stuff in between breaks, because that was ridiculously ridiculous. And we're going to do this again. And we're going to try to keep talking throughout the season about events that are happening, and we'll bring in some more entertaining guests. John will, of course, be in England, but we'll probably bring Harvey back again, because maybe get Harvey's interpretation of the news of the week. You know, Harvey could be our news reader.
No, I'm on that. That'll be great.
And to just I guess in closing, coming up here on behalf of the chorus, this is the end of we're at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015. But we'd like to thank you for all of your support over the last year. We had an incredible year that featured some amazing events, a European tour. We raised $100,000 in matching funds thanks to all of you, and we're about to roll out a pretty comprehensive expansion of our music education program that you're going to hear a lot about, but it's thanks to all of you. Have a wonderful new year, and we will talk to you on the next podcast.
From the Edge is produced by the Chorus of Westerly with New Shore Productions. For more information, visit chorusofwesterly.org and newshoreproductions.com.
That's where we should go. Rejected 12th Night themes.
I could bring that back. I'll have John arrange it.
There's our theme song.